Welcome back guys to another edition of Looted. Today we're going to be checking out some novelty instruments. Now there's nothing really complex about any of these instruments. They are super simple. And for me they hold quite a bit of nostalgic value because I used to play these quite a lot back in like primary school when I was like 8, 7, something along those lines. It's probably because these instruments didn't require any musical talent to play, so they were right up my alley. Now these novelty instruments are made to simulate the sound of weather, and the reason I got these instruments today is because I was inspired by the absolutely awful weather outside, which is why I'm sitting in here in this warm studio rather than going outside and enjoying my life. So the first instrument we're going to be checking out today is the howler tube wind pipe. It didn't actually come with a tag, which isn't very helpful. Let me see if I can find it online. Okay, apparently it's either called a Whirly tube, phone, or a Bloogle resonator. Who named these things? All right, intern, which one do we pick? Whirly tube or Bloogle resonator?
Bloogle resonator.
Bloogle resonator it is. So this instrument right here is a Bloogle resonator. And when I said these instruments are simple, this is the simplest. I mean, it's literally just a plastic tube. It does look like something that you would attach to the back of your tumble dryer. Basically, with this tube, you spin it around and it simulates wind noises. Let me show you what I mean. That's probably the most satisfying sound we're going to get out of this. Which side do I hold it from? I think it's this side. Very tricky in this tight space. Let me try standing up. I disconnected my mic. Back in action. Oh, it does, doesn't it? I wonder if it'll work better outside where there's more wind flow. Oh, it's raining. Oh, that's depressing. Now, I'm not 100% sure exactly what sound I was expecting to come out of this thing, though I did expect it to be louder. I don't know if the ones I used as a kid were bigger or my hearing was just, you know, a bit more sensitive than it is now because I've just ruined it by playing instruments badly and going to loud concerts. So yeah, if you want to simulate wind going through a tunnel or, you know, the London Underground, then this is the instrument for you. I think you can pick them up for like £2 or £3 off Amazon. So they're quite cheap, but to be honest, you could probably find a similar thing for cheaper if you went to your local DIY store. Because I mean, come on, it's just a basic plastic tube. Even £3 feels like a bit of a rip-off. But you can do this, which is just very, very satisfying. I take it back. It's well worth the £3 just for that. Now next up we've got an instrument which has a lot of history behind it. It is the Rainstick. Now the Rainstick is believed to have originated from Chile and Argentina, but there are similar instruments from Africa, Asia, Australia. I think the ones from Chile and Argentina were originally made using dried cactus, whereas the other ones from other parts of the world were made using bamboo, which I'm no expert, but this doesn't look like a cactus to me. Looks like bamboo. Australian bamboo. Now a Rainstick is basically a tube filled with either beans, rice, pebbles. I'm not actually sure what's inside this one, but probably plastic because those like to use plastic, don't they? Now the reason a Rainstick is called a Rainstick, apart from the fact that it's meant to simulate the sound of rain, is that the indigenous people who created this instrument believed that using it could bring on rain, which would help in times of drought during the dry season to help grow crops and whatnot. Now obviously this is quite a small one, so the rain sound doesn't last very long, but you get the idea. You know what, it doesn't actually remind me of rain, it reminds me of popping candy.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Now originally I thought this instrument would be really good for simulating rain sounds for like film and movies, but honestly I think it's a little bit too harsh. It doesn't really simulate gentle rain, it more simulates like hailstones hitting the ground more than anything else. Something very ASMR worthy about this instrument if you ask me. This is the sound of rain. This is the sound of a sudden downpour. You're welcome. Now I don't want to use this thing too much because if it actually provokes rain to fall from the sky, that's the last thing we need, because it's been tipping it down for the last 2 weeks and I'm sick of it. You can get rain sticks which are a lot bigger than this. I mean, this one is only 16 inches, but I've seen ones available which go up to 60 inches, so they get pretty darn big. I'm guessing with the bigger ones, the sound isn't much different, but I'm guessing that you get a longer duration of sound, and that's pretty much the only perk, but I can't say for sure because I don't have one. Now the last instrument we're going to be checking out today is a thunder tube. Pretty self-explanatory this one. It's a tube which simulates the sound of thunder. Creates wild and zany sound effects. Do kids still say zany? Is that a cool thing to say? I have a feeling it's not. Experiment, enjoy, and make plain, wacky sounds. Wow, they're really hamming up this packaging, aren't they? Another effect is to scrape a fingernail along the spring while holding the Thunder Tube still. The creepy, creaking sound is like a door on an old closet full of family secrets. So the Thunder Tube is a very basic build. This one is just a hollow wooden tube with a metal spring attached to it. And of course they had to go with the tie-dye decal right here, because nothing says thunder like tie-dye. I guess that's just the zaniness coming through. And if you couldn't guess by the very basic build, the Thunder Tube is very easy to play. Just hold the tube and then with just a flick of the wrist, surprisingly loud. Now, kind of like the Rainstick, it doesn't exactly sound like it's meant to. I don't think it really sounds like thunder, but it does sound very, very creepy. Very good for a horror movie soundtrack. You can really build suspense with this thing. Does sound pretty cool. You can also muffle the sound by putting your hand over the hole as well, which also has some pretty creepy outcomes. Oh god, it sounds like a monster. I'm pretty sure I've been attacked by a monster in a video game which sounds just like that. Now, as it said on the packaging, I feel like I need to give it a try. I'm just gonna hold this thing still and rub a fingernail down the side of the spring, and fingers crossed it actually does simulate the sound of a creaky closet. But hopefully it doesn't then reveal my family secrets, because they should be hidden and not given out over the internet. We've got a few skeletons in there, that's all I'm saying. I mean, it sounds kind of like a creaky door, but not exactly. One of my favorite things about this instrument is the fact that the sound can go from 0 to 100 and then straight back down to 0 in like the space of less than a second. That's so entertaining. Fire the cannons! Now, I guess the only thing left to do is to try and play all these instruments at the same time. I have a feeling it's not going to sound too great. Just a warning. Oh, this is hard. This is like tapping your head and rubbing your belly at the same time. I had my first experience with these instruments when I was a child, and honestly, I don't understand why anybody would put these into the hands of a child. I'm amazed that 5-year-old me didn't get this spring to the eye. Or maybe I did, and that's why I wear glasses. Maybe there's a correlation there. But now I'm just thinking that these instruments would be really good just for experimenting with. You could use them really subtly in music. You could use them to build suspense in a scene. You can make some quite spooky sound effects, or you could use them for a very sensual ASMR video. This is a sensual ASMR video, in case you were wondering. So despite these instruments seeming very, very simple at first sight, they actually could be capable of making some pretty cool sounds. And with that, that's going to be it for another edition of Looted. Shout out to our Patreon supporters, Natasha Savage and Keegan McAdams. And if you like this video, hit like. If you like all our videos, hit subscribe. We've got more videos on the way. If you have any suggestions of instruments you want us to check out in the future, leave a comment down below. If you want to support the channel further, check out the links in the description to our Patreon page, our social pages, and you can also join us on our Discord server. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.